All right, welcome back. It's a new day, and we are going to do part 2 of the authentication stuff. All right, so in part 1, very quickly, we created the login route, and we returned a token, which we can now use, and we're going to be able to send that through to the current user to be able to get the user data correctly. Okay, so first things first, we need to be able to pass the token out. So we probably want to go and start with an isAuthenticated middleware. Where you put it, I often ended up just putting my middleware in a single file. You may want to create a folder. I just create a middleware class, mostly because I just don't end up with that much middleware, I suppose. Okay, so middleware, we create a class, call it middleware. Okay, we'll create static route, which is, so these static routes are exactly the same as a normal one, except, you know, they take a HTTP request, they return a response. If they just continue through, well, then it just passes to the next thing down the chain. So what we're going to do is create an isAuthenticated. Authenticated. Cool, so HTTP request, and then HTTP response. All right, let's get cracking. Okay, so first things first, we need to get the user's bearer token. The convention is that you pass an authentication or authorization header. I have to probably go and check that again. Anyway, and then it has the word bearer, capital B, and with a space after it, and then you chuck it in the token. So first things first, let's go token equals request dot headers dot, yeah, it doesn't have enough dot not content type, they don't have an authorization dot get dot add. I think there was a way, no, dot headers clear add value, there we go, value, that's the one. So let's check, I think it's authorization. Let's just check bearer token. That's right, I haven't got any to know. So let's just do authorization. We may need to change it to ZATION. We may need to change this as we go along. It might be authentication. I'm pretty sure it's authorization. Actually, Postman will be the one. It'll chuck in a header for me. It'll be the right header. That'll be the way we can find out. So, yeah, we don't have, do my thing. It's not even going to work at all. Look, whatever. Let's not worry about that for a second. It's really irrelevant. Ultimately, we need to get the token. So we just go auth header, because that's what we need there. So the token equals, so auth header dot split, or should we just remove bearer? No, we should check that it's got a bearer thing. So I think we auth header dot replace. That's all from bearer space, and then it's trying to replace it with nothing. And that should clean it up. I guess that'll also work if someone just passes down the token, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Why is replace all? It doesn't like that. Okay. If auth header is not equal null. Oop. Okay. Cool. So now we've got a token. So if token dot is not empty, let's see if we can actually pass through a token. Cool. We should be cooking. Now, we've got to get the JWT. Let's head on over to here, JWT. Let's see how we can pass. All right, chuck's on the internet. Can't do anything without being on the internet. Let's just have a look over at the user route while that decides to connect up. Come on, there we go. All right. Oh, we're there. Let's just do it. This is easy. This will work. So that's going to be our token. Come on. I'll pause it for a sec while we get this sorted Okay, so we're online. Now there's a couple of things here. First of all, we need to use a similar signer, or at least one with the same shared secret, to be able to validate, to verify the token. We also need to be able to decode the token. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this signer, wherever he is, up there. Let's move him off to services, because we're going to be reusing him in multiple places. There's no reason why we can't. That way we also don't need to share the secret. So it's in users root. No. There he is, there's the sign. Cool. We pull him out, chuck him over to our app services. So we don't actually, we can keep the secret there too. But this probably won't work. Probably got to pull that in. Hello, there we go. Just pulled in the secret. Cool. Otherwise, sometimes you're just going to use a getter, and that'll allow you to have that constant. This should just be a const, I suppose, and we should probably hide it now from everywhere else. There's no reason why it needs to be exposed anywhere else to the app. So we've got that. We'll call it JWT signer, so it makes a bit more sense. Okay, cool. Now we can just reference him from anywhere. So we go users root, JWT signer, services. Nice. And now we can head on over to the middleware and we can check it. So what is it? So we need to get the signer and we need to pass our token. So equals J pass token. Cool. And so we verify it. Is valid equals pass token dot verify, and then we need services dot JWT signer. Awesome. Okay, so if is valid is equal to false, then throw another Alfred exception, status code 401, response. Valid token. Cool. So that's working. Now, same thing up here. If it's null, else, so we're going to throw another exception, and we'll say no token, no auth header provided. Again, I'll reiterate, you probably don't want to necessarily give too much information when you're doing this. I'm doing this here more so that you can easily debug your own code, but in a security state, usually just say, go away, and then leave the user so they don't know what's going wrong is probably what you want. Anyway, so if the token is not empty, else, so invalid token, or again, no token provided. What's happened there. Cool, so that's that. So if it's valid, no. False, there we go. So since we're gonna exit out with the exception, we can just leave that like that. Okay. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to, we need to chuck this on the request. So request.store. This is one of the only additions that Alfred's really made to the HTTP requesting. This request.store allows you, for this request, you can add pretty much whatever content you want. So we can do this set, and we can go user, and we can go past token. Cool. And now, whenever we get this, it will be a, what's the response here? So it's a JWT. Okay, so we can now get the token on, let's just call it tokens. And we are able to reference that now in future elements that come along after the middleware. So that's that. And now that should boot us out if we're not authenticated. So let's go and run a little test. Test, it should get the current user. We probably want to do one that says, hey, we're not authenticated, but we'll just sort of build up the test from now, and that'll do for this example. So let's do before all. as testing. Don't expect any collapse, compilation. Let me pause this. I'll just quickly work out what it is again. I can't remember the before. Okay, so it's setup. Setup and tear down, I think it is. So setup. Okay. So what we're going to do before each test, let's set up Alfred. Get asynchronous. And we also want to do a tear down, where we will shut down the server instance. So that means we want to probably store the server here. Oh. What is it? It's just server. Cool. And then we go server dot. Oh, we don't have anything to tear down the server. Okay. Server.app.stop, is it? No, close. There we go. Must be assigned before it can be used, yeah. So, I mean, I guess look, in that case, we've got them like that. If server is not equal null, this is probably not going to work either because it could always be. So if we do this, no, that won't work. This is not a class. Let's start an null check. At the end of the day, because we are running a test anyway, it's okay for it to just fail us if we've mucked it up. Okay, cool. So now we're going to set up an Alfred server before we run the test, and then tear it down after each one. So that way we don't need to worry about it, so we can just do this. So final response is await http.get, and it is the same as this, except users / current user. That's a URL. All right. So we're getting that, but the thing is we haven't got any headers there, so we probably want to actually log in first, get our bearer token, and we'll do this as a two-part thing. Final, so we'll call this login response, okay, and then login data, final token equals. Sorry, login data token. Cool. So right now, this should final. I'll just go login response. Cool. All right, got that. Now we got our token. Now we got our response, and this response. Expect response dot status code to be 200. So it theoretically should actually boot us out. Oh no, it won't work because we haven't put the middleware in. It did fail though. What's the matter? It should get a current users, object factory or type services already registered. So, okay. So yeah, this one here, well, I guess we just shut that down too. And tear down for no. Dot time register. There's probably a neater way to do this. I'll probably think about it a bit more if I'm not just doing a quick demo. I often end up having just a function that will kick off everything and shut down everything. Okay, cool. So it's actually 200. At the moment, we actually don't want it to be 200. We want it to be a 401. But let's see if we can get that to happen first, and then we'll get it to come back and start working. All right, so where are we? Server. So what we've got here, current user, we've got middleware. Okay. Because it's an array, you can put a series of middleware in. Go middleware dot is authenticated, and we don't pass in it as a function. It's just gonna work. Now, hopefully that should be a 401. Cool. What's the error? There you go. It found it. It booted us out. we don't actually have any data. Cool. So now we need to make sure now that we're actually logging in and this works. So we go here, we go headers. What does the headers object look like? It's just a map. So authorization, and it needs to be bearer and space and then token. Now, theoretically, we should now be logged in. Cool, it did work. So over here now, we need to actually flesh out that current user, pull down that user from the store, and query him. So user's right. Okay, user. Okay. Final user token equals request dot store dot get token. Okay. JWT. Actually. If user token is not equal null, then we need to set its type. There we go, that might work. I mean, realistically it should be, but we're going to throw some other error if we go over there. Okay, so user token dot not ID. There should be some sort of like a headers or something. Dot verify. Dot get claim. Now, what do we set the claim to down here? Claim data. Cool. And data. So what is data? Data is a map of string dynamic because it's just JSON. I think that will throw an error though if I try and do that, so it's a map. Okay, so data, what is it called? It is email. Data email. Okay, so user. So we go to, now we want to go and query for this user. So services.users. Find user by email, user email. Now it doesn't throw, I think it's just, yep, it just returns a null. So final found user. So if the found user is not equal null, then we return found user. Else we throw another Alfred exception and a 401 message that the user is not found. Okay, so I think we used a similar email. Let's just run our test, see what happens. Hopefully it fails, because then, you know, that's what you're supposed to do, and then you're supposed to fix it. It didn't fail. All right, let's go and have a look at the test. Users route test. Okay, so what are we looking at here? So we've got the response. So let's just have a look. Let's print out the response. See what we actually are returning. Cool. Awesome. Test@email.com. So if we change this to that, it should fail. Cool beans. So, oh, got a 500. Should get the current user. Oh, what's the failure? Don't know. Oh, here we go. We'll be here. Invalid token string format for JWT. Oh, I guess because he couldn't log in. So because we can't even log in, there's something back on our login page, login service, not even, so user. That's not it. Let's close down some stuff so we're not getting confused. Users route, that's where I want to be. That's in our middleware. Oh no, it's in the middleware section. So, pass token, if the token, replace all bearer. Yeah, that's because we didn't actually get one. It's not empty. Invalid token string format for JWT. I wonder what it actually is. Breakpoints aren't working for our test, annoyingly, at the moment. That's the way it's doing it. So if the token is not empty, so we're getting a token. Token. I always like to put something, if I'm going to start using printing stuff to the console, I might put something there so that when you're going through later and you just got random stuff thrown up everywhere, you can actually tell, it's null. Why is the token's null? I guess it's converted null to a string because it didn't log in the user properly. And I suppose it's taken a 401 from the from over here. So if login data, yeah, well, I guess we expect, so it's not going to work. Expect login response.status code to be 200. And if that's not going to work, well, that's not going to work, is it? Because we can't even get past the user to be able to throw a dodgy token so that we can't get the other user. Yeah, see? No, it's 401, so can't get past it. Oh well. So it's working. There you go. Check it to that. It works. It goes and finds the right user. It returns that user. Can't return a wrong user. JWT is where it pulls it from. Got dodgy JWT. I mean, probably shouldn't have a 500, I suppose. But, yeah, anyway. You can fix that in time. That's actually all working. So let's jump on over here. So yeah, we've got the current user pulling out. We have that happening by going through a middleware, which is then authenticating the user. So all you got to do to authenticate a route, and you can actually do things like pulling down the actual user record or whatever you want to do here and setting it on this store. So you can actually have the user record there pulled from the database. It might be a bad idea to get it from the database. Sometimes I make a convenience method, which is quite literally get user from request, and it will just go into that database thing and populate that, just to hurry things along. Right, so that's that. I don't think there's any point in showing you create account, not at the moment, until we're doing the database side of things, because that's literally all that is. And we're kind of creating an account back at the first step anyway, for the purposes of this. All right, so that's that. That's authentication. That's that. It's done. I guess so. The next step is probably going to be a database hookup. I almost exclusively use Mongo, but I guess we can show you how to do some database stuff. And I'll show you my little ORM, but that'll be probably a part 2 of a 2-part database thing. Yeah, I guess let us know if there's something else that we've missed or you've got any questions. But yeah, that's all sorted. Cool.